Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I am going to discuss something related to diet therapy and routine hospital diet. So this will be a basic introduction to uh, what is diet therapy, first unit in the basic dietetics. So and what are the different types of routine hospital diets used in the hospitals. So basically one need to understand what is diet therapy. So everyone knows that diet means every day we consume some of the meals according to the timings like breakfast, lunch and the dinner, in between like snacks and morning feedings we will be having. So entire day's meals and including beverages is considered as diet. So when we are modifying that particular regular diet into something new, so when we are bringing in some kind of changes into the diet, so then that is termed as the diet therapy. So diet therapy is mostly the modification of normal diet to meet the requirement of the sick individual. Like whenever certain kinds of changes need to be done in the body, so we can modify the regular diet into something new, so that sick individuals or whenever we have like specific requirements, so when we want to bring in the changes in the body's weight, so when we want to increase or decrease the body weight, certain things need to be added, certain kind of modifications we do. For example, in the diseases of liver, we increase the protein content in the diet. Like that, certain nutrients are added, certain nutrients are avoided in order to maintain the good health. So whenever a person want to maintain a good nutritional status, uh, diet can be modified. So when a person is want to correct the deficiencies, any deficiencies a person is having, so when they want to correct, like protein energy malnutrition is there, so it is a deficiency of both the calories and the protein in the diet. So when that need to be addressed, so modification of diet is essential. And when proper metabolism of the body need to be maintained, so whenever body needs rest, so in certain conditions where some part of the body is affected, so that in that period some rest is needed for the bodies, some nutrients requirement will increase, or the person is having fever, cold, like that a person a nutrient requirement will generally increase. So in order to meet these changed demands, we modify the diet. So those diet can be called in a different names. So we generally make bring certain changes into the diet, so that is called as the diet therapy. So diet therapy is need to have some kind of base. So what is that means? So when we are planning the diet for any client, so we generally take the information about what they consume on daily basis. So we would like to know the food habits of the individual, and what is their pattern, and what they consume, like type of the diet in the like vegetarian, non-vegetarian, what generally it consists of. This should be very essential in order to plan the diet or modify the diets also. So why it is essential to consider these things? So normal diet should be a base for the modified diet. So when we are considering the normal diet, a kind of psychological and social support is given to the ill patient or the client, so that it is easy for them to follow when their food habits and the choices are taken into consideration. So food preparation is simplified when modified diet is a base. So like any different meal or complicated meal or different diet you are planning for the client, and you are giving along with the recipe, and it has lot of steps, then it is very difficult for the client to prepare, because they have to spend they have to purchase the ingredients and they have to cook it. So it takes a lot of effort, and the time and the money spent is also different if it is totally different ingredients which are used. So if it is a kind of normally routinely used, or which the ingredients they have at their house, so then it is very easy for them to follow. Only certain kind of modifications are made. So whatever the calculated values of the basic plans are useful in finding out the effect in addition or the omission of certain foods. When you plan the diet, certain things need to be removed out from the diet, or certain things need to be added. You have to adjust that particular things in the concept of balanced diet. So no essential nutrient should lack in a particular diet. So if, for example, the client says they do not eat or consume leafy vegetables, so they do not want to eat the fruits, so either they just avoiding a group of the foods which are essential to include in the diet. So how that nutrients need to be compensated in the diet. So addition of something or supplementing something, so that those essential nutrients should be added into the diet. So that need to be considered very essentially. So other factors before you plan the diet to the individual, certain factors need to be considered. So what are those things? Firstly, you have to understand what is the disease. Whenever you plan the diet for the client, you need to have the thorough information about the diet of sorry disease of the person. So what diseases, what underlying disease they have, and what is the duration of the disease, from how long they are facing that particular problem or the disease. That information one need to have, and what nutrient need to be altered. Suppose, for example, very easily, like we are planning the diet for the obesity, so you need to understand when they have gained the weight and what is the cause of gaining the weight, because it is very essential to address the problem. So only overeating is not the problem in many of the clients. So there are other issues related to the weight gain, so that need to be understood. And the duration of the disease, and how in how many years they have gained so much of the weight, that need to be considered. And what nutrients need to be altered, means like if it is obesity, we avoid certain things, make into low calories and high protein, high vitamins and minerals need to be added. So in that way, we will decide according to the disease wise, we can decide the what nutrients need to be changed or the altered, and how they are tolerating to that particular diet and disease. So when a person is having a disease, certain foods patient may not tolerate. So what foods they are better tolerated need to be checked. So food preferences, what individual or the client or the patient would like to eat at that particular moment, so that need to be considered. Economic considerations are important. So spending huge amount of money in a particular diet, that too in a routine life, it is very difficult. So before you plan any diet, you need to understand their economic considerations, and occupation are also considered as a general point in before we plan the diet. So this was about how to plan the diet and introduction to the diet therapy. So diet is used as a therapeutic purpose not only because of the presence of the nutrient, but also it contains certain chemical substances in the foods, like uh, uh, the foods we add should always have the antioxidants, which help the patient in addressing the things, or the any functional foods which will help in improvement of the immunity need to be added into the diet. So in planning the diet, these things must be kept in mind. While planning therapeutic diet, one also need to understand what is the relationship between the diet and the drug interaction. So now we will discuss what are the routine hospital diets. Uh, routine hospital diets are most commonly used hospital diets depending upon the condition of the patient. So every nutrition students will either they plan these diets in their practicals, in, in the basic dietetics. uh, these diets are generally most commonly used type of diets in the hospitals. So these diets are used when normal diets are not tolerated by the patient. Normal diet means what? It means the regular diet. It's what an individual eats on the daily basis. If that is not tolerated by the patient, then patient may be given to the given something called as hospital diets. So what are they? What are the commonly used hospital diets we have? So we have the clear fluid diet, soft diet, and the regular diet. So usually it flows like one, depending upon the patient condition. If the patient is more severe in case of convulsions, we generally put in the clear fluid. Then depending upon the patient tolerance, how patient is coping up with the thing, then he can be put into the fluid diet. Then further improvement the soft diet, and it can be shifted to the regular diet. So first one, we have clear fluid diets. So whenever an acute illness, when a person is ill or having any kind have undergone any surgery, so when food is not tolerating, means the regular food is not tolerating by the patient, or continuously a patient may having the leg problems like nausea, vomiting. Hmm? In case of severe diarrhea where food is not at all tolerated by the patient, then clear fluid diet can be given. So the clear fluid means it is made up of clear liquids, means that should not have any kind of residue in it. So when there is no residue, there is no point of much of digestion. So when you want to give rest to your digestive system, then also this diet will work out very well. And it is non-gas forming, because uh, any kind of irritating, or the foods which take lot of the digestion are not at all there in the clear fluid. It is more or less like water. It gives us very less calories, of course. So as it is non-gas forming, non-irritating, non-stimulating to the peristaltic action. So either gastrointestinal disturbances should not happen from this diet, and it is always non-irritating. Kind of stimulating agents are also not added, like caffeine based beverages are not at all included in the clear fluid diet. It may be tea or coffee and other beverages are not included. So it is nutritionally inadequate, as it is deficient in the protein and the calories. So it is totally nutritionally inadequate, So the amount of fluid is restricted 30 to 60 ml per hour, depending upon the patient tolerance and the age and the present body weight, how much of the the fluid he can tolerate at particular period. Depending upon that, fluid may be increased or decreased. It gives us around 300 calories, which is just very less amount of the calories to a person to survive. So this diet just will help you to relieve the thirst or supply whenever severe kind of diarrhea is there. So it will supply a good amount of water to the tissues, and sometimes it helps in the removal of the gases. So when to use this clear fluid diet? So in case of any in acute infections or before anything is diagnosed or the patient is severely ill and he is hospitalized, so first thing he should be put on to the clear fluid diet. So in case of acute inflammatory conditions of the intestinal tract, so when intestine is not working properly, a kind of rest is needed for your intestine, then clear fluid diet is suggested. And in case of surgery of colon or the rectum, again digestive system need to be at rest that period, and to relieve the thirst in case of severe diarrhea, and it also helps to remove the gases from the diet, sorry, in from the body. So from the clear fluid diet we get very less amount of the minerals. So how long a patient can take or the survive on the clear fluid? Clear fluid diet is only given minimum of like 20 to 24 to 48 hours maximum. Means 2 days a patient can tolerate in on that particular diet, because nutritionally that does not give us any kind of proteins. So it has very less or no protein at all in the clear fluid diet. So hence putting the patient on the clear fluid diet is more than 2 days is it's not correct. So then a patient may be shifted to a fluid diet. So comparatively it is in between of the clear fluid and the soft diet. It is a gap or bridge between the two these diets. So foods which are liquid or which readily become liquid on reaching the stomachs are usually uh, used in the fluid diet. Anything which is liquid but it can has the residue, means in the fluid diet one can have the residues, like all fruit juices will come in the will be added in the fluid diet. So this diet is adequate in the calories, protein when planned carefully. If it is planned properly, or nutritionally it can be planned in a balanced form, so that all the requirement for protein and the other the calories need to be met. So it is given at 2 to 4 hours of the intervals. So this diet can be given between 2 to 4 hours of the interval, and it provides 1200 calories, approximately 35 grams of protein when it is planned on the concept of balanced diet. Any diet if we are planning, that should be in the concept of the balanced diet. So all the fruits and the fruit juices uh, which are fresh need to be added, and the soups may be a part of the fluid diet. So when this diet can be given? So immediately after the surgery, patient may be put on after the clear fluid diet 24 hours maybe on the clear fluid. Then patient may be put on the fluid diet following surgery in form of gastritis in the stomach, uh, disturbances or gastrointestinal problems, a patient may be put on the fluid diet. And in case of infections, in case of diarrhea, when uh, patient or the client is unable to chew the foods or not able to tolerate the regular diet, he can be put on the fluid diet. And when the person is not able to, means fatigue in case of severe malnourished patients, so they don't have the energy to chew the foods, they are totally ill to swallow the things, then fluid diet will work out good. Or any kind of dental issues, patient may be put on the fluid diet. Fluid diet, as it is nutritionally, a patient or the client can survive some days on the fluid diet, so there is no danger out of the fluid diet falling for 8 days. A patient can take this diet. Next is soft diet. Soft diet, the meaning says it is mechanically soft. Matlab, the texture of the food need to be very soft. The cooking consistency should be like free flowing, smooth in the consistency, and mashed well. That means it is mechanically soft. Texture of the food should be soft. So it is made up of simple, easily digestible foods and contain no harsh fibers. Fibers need not to be added. So it is if anything we want to give the fibers or the fresh fruits, then we have to cook them properly and mash them, then it can be like anything can be converted into mashed form. So that is the meaning of mechanically soft. And this diet is most frequently used type of diet in the routine hospital. So anything for any reason a person go to the hospital, so just before diagnosis of any kind of disease, a patient can be put on to the soft diet. Anything which is soft need to be given to the patient. So it is also a gap between acute illness and the convulsion may be used in the it may be used in the following surgery also in case of infections or any diet, any kind of changes, any kind of alterations when we want to make, we can make into the soft diet. So anything need to be or blenderized or made into a soft texture, then any diet can be easily converted to soft diet. Hence it is nutritionally adequate when planned on the basis of the balanced diet concept. So because there is no particular things to avoid, so all cereals, how you cook will be actually mattering here, and how we serve. It is often modified further to the certain pathological conditions as bland or low residue diets. So like again further in what type of particular diseases we are giving the soft diet, in what disease and what is the present status of the patient. So suppose if we are uh, giving to the patient who is having the peptic ulcers, gastrointestinal ulcers, uh, uh, and the intestine problems, then a patient may be put on bland diet, bland with soft diet. So bland means all non-irritating, it should be non-irritating, non-stimulating to the peristaltic action, and low residue. When we want to make it low residue, all fibers need to be removed from the diet. So mainly cereals and the starch which are mm, rich in just plain carbs may be added when we want to make it low residue. This diet gives us around 1500 calories and 35 to 40 grams of protein, which is mm, sufficient for the patient to tolerate. So patient with dental problems, acute illness, fever and infection after surgery or before diagnosis of any disease, a patient may take the soft diet. So after the soft diet, a patient directly shifted to the regular diet when they are completely okay in the diet. So these are most commonly. I have not included regular diet because regular diet is every day what we consume on the daily basis. So I hope this video was useful for you all. Thank you.